Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today it's going to be something a little bit different. I'm going to be using one of these in World of Warcraft, and I'm going to be streaming it to a living room television. Now immediately you're probably thinking, okay, how? Surely you're just not going to use XPad or something and have a simple keybind setup, and B, why the hell would you even do that? So first of all, as to the how, we're going to be using a very special add-on called ConsolePort, which really does what it says on the tin to World of Warcraft's user interface. And why? Well, some people just enjoy it. Some people want to use a controller, maybe if there's a disability involved and it's more comfortable to play that way, or sometimes it's just more relaxing. If you want to chill out on the sofa and maybe level up a character in a scenario that's not, you know, super demanding on your actions per minute, then this is actually a really good setup. And here's the bit that's it surprised me, it will hopefully surprise you. This is oddly possible in terms of doing decent gameplay. I was able to do a gold challenge mode within 15 minutes of setting this, not challenge mode, a gold proving ground, within 15 minutes of setting this up. It really is surprisingly effective. So what are you going to need? Well, first of all, this will work with a DualShock 4 controller, a DualShock 3 controller, an Xbox 360 controller, an Xbox One controller, or even a Steam controller, but the only one that I've tested so far is this Xbox 360 wired controller. After that, you want to go to curse.com and find the ConsolePort add-on page. From there, you're going to have a look at the instructions, which have actually changed since I recorded most of this video, so I'm actually going to have to re-record this section. But the good news is it's way more easy now. You just need to download WoW Mapper, a link to which is on the instructions page on curse.com, and that's pretty much it. You install WoW Mapper, and then once you've done that, you open it up and you set its profile to that of the controller that you're going to be using. Then you plug your controller in via your USB port, and you're pretty much good to go, or at least good to move on. So with that done, you want to set up World of Warcraft with the ConsolePort add-on. So assuming you've installed ConsolePort, by dragging the ConsolePort folder into your interface add-ons folder in your World of Warcraft directory, the same way you would install any add-on, you just want to boot up the game, you want to go into one of your characters, and the first thing you'll notice is it's a little bit weird. If you move your mouse, your character will start looking all over the place, so you want to put your mouse down at that stage, and then pick up your controller, and I'm going to jump in game and show you how to set it up. Alright guys, so here we are on a new character, so I'm just going to select the 360 pad as my controller of choice. It will then reload the UI, and it's going to ask us to assign different buttons. So all you want to do is just hit the button that it prompts you to, and continue going on. So we'll do all the face buttons, we'll do left, up, right, down, RB, RT, I believe that's the... Wait, no, that's select. Yeah, we'll do select. Now, I'm actually going to have to skip the Xbox guide button because there's a bit of a problem with it at the minute that I couldn't get to work, and then we'll finish off with the start button. There you go! That's ConsolePort setup. It is amazingly simple. How the hell does it work, though? So first of all, let's go for a run around the place. First thing you'll notice is I am running around successfully using a controller. This is very comfortable, and in many ways, elements of this are actually better than just some of the core UI for if you are running around playing this like a traditional, you know, just chill out kind of RPG. Anyhow, so you're moving around with this stick, you're looking with this stick, and it's completely intuitive. But you're probably wondering how do keybinds and all that stuff work. Well, it automatically does keybinds for you. If you look down, you can see on the X, you know, my 1 is bound to X, 2 is bound to Y. I'll show you more complex keybinds when I hop over to my main character though. So I'm going to hit the start button here. No, I'm going to hit the select button to bring up my my bags so I can show you something. If you have a look at my bags, what you'll notice is I've got this little bizarre cursor that's moving from slot to slot. That's different from my main cursor, completely different from that. And this is a new part of ConsolePort. This is something that very much makes the game easier to play. It allows you to navigate anything with snappable menu objects in the game. Now, it's not as effective as a mouse, but it completely works in a very surprising manner. You can also quick bind things. So if you look at the tooltip for my Hearthstone there, I can hit X to use it, which I'm not going to do, or I can hit Y to bind it. So I'm going to hit Y. There you go. And I'm going to hit B, and then I select a slot. Actually, do I select a slot? No, that's it bound to the top slot. Great, so what's that? Well, you've actually got something which they call your utility belt. Now, with the current keybinds, if I hold LB, LT, and A, it'll bring up my my utility belt, as you can see. And I can then navigate around my utility belt with this stick, so I could do this, and that will, as an example, use that. So let's hop back into my bag. I'm going to bind this tough jerky to a slot on my belt. So there you go, I've got two things bound to my utility belt. Hell, I might even bind... Can I bind armor to it? I don't think I can. Yeah, I can't bind armor to it. Anyway, so that's that done. Let's go and use our utility belt. So again, I hit LB, LT, and A. And I hold those, and I can just select something. So let's just use the jerky. And as you can see, my character sits down and eats the jerky. That is extremely easy, and again, that's mimicking the kind of radial menu system that many games actually have. Anyhow, let's get back on our feet, and I'm going to show you the main user interface for this. So I'm going to hit escape to bring up the menu, and you can actually see that the micro bar is also brought up here. I'm going to go to controller, and first of all, we're going to go to general. So you've got loads of different settings here. You can customize these to your heart's desire. I like to lock the mouse cursor whenever the player's moving. And I'll explain what that locked mouse cursor actually means in a minute, but you've got loads of different behaviors and things like this that you can tweak around really to your own preference. Let's move into key bindings though. So first of all, you can see every button is bound in a different way. I'm just gonna, let's have a look at X. So I hit X, and it brings this up. So action button 1 is bound to X. LB and X is bound to action button 6. Of course, I don't have an ability in action button 6, but for the sake of convenience, if I was just to pop over the regular mouse here, and 1 second, I'm away from the microphone, but if I was to drag something there, you can see LB and X is now bound to my stone form. But I can do loads of different things here, and this works for just about everything. Vehicle controls, targeting, target markers, your different action bars, movement keys, things like that. If you've got bartender installed, you can select slots from your bartender bars on this as well. It really is tremendously useful. So I'm just going to exit this because, of course, my settings are pretty much as I want them. And actually, if I go back in there, it's worth showing you this. So I can actually just click here with B and then hit any button I want. So let's just say Y. And that will allow me to bind anything. And really with this, you know, your imagination is as far as it goes. If you set this up well, it will be very comfortable to play with. But if you set it up poorly, it really won't be that comfortable to play with. You're probably wondering, well, how the hell do you target things without a mouse cursor? Well, first of all, you can just use tab targeting. So if I run up to a boar here, and I've actually forgotten, what is my tab targeting button? So there you go, LB and A is actually bound to target nearest enemy. So if I go out of this and hit LB and A, you can see it's just targeted the boar. And if I was to face another boar, let's just say this one, there, LB and A, and it's targeted the boar. But, you know, there's times where that just doesn't work. Well, that's why I can tap in this stick here, as you can see, and that has unlocked my mouse cursor. I can then hit RB, and that will target an enemy directly with the mouse. There are times where that's useful. Obviously, it's not ideal, but, you know, it'll do the job. This whole setup, it works extremely intuitively, and this is me pretty much good to go with a setup that didn't take much time. You're also probably wondering, well, how is it for actually interacting with something? Well, pretty simple. The mouse position actually defaults to just in front of your character like that. So if I were to walk up to this, I just hit RB twice, and I automatically open it. And because of the way this the user interface works, so if I target this guy and kill him, which is quite easy to do, there you go, just hit level 5, I can just hit that, hit RB again. It's all context sensitive. That's one of the great things this add-on does. Makes it all just work out of the box. I can then hit B, using that, you know, cool little, you know, nifty new cursor they've developed, and target, you know, loot stuff. And you can also set up auto-looting so that's a little bit easier to do. I'm going to hop onto my hunter now and show you what it's like in a level 100 character that's got, you know, all the abilities and stuff going on. Okay, so I'm here in my hunter, and because I don't have Warlords of Draenor flying unlocked, I'm just going to head over to Dalaran to show you what it's like flying, but to do that, I need to equip my Band of the Kirin Tor. But I don't want to have to search through my bags manually, even though I do know where it is. Here's where another feature comes in. I can go to the search, and then I can use their keyboard. So the way this works is you've got this whole, like, radius of, or, you know, there's like a sort of circle of different things, and then you select which one you want to use with the right stick, and then you use the face buttons to actually type. So this is called the Band of the Kirin Tor, so B, A, if I go down to N, and then over to D, I found the Band of the Kirin Tor on my bags. It's down there at the bottom right, so I can just hit B again, I know where it is, I can move my thing down, I can equip it, nice and simple. So now that I know where it is, I can quite simply just go down here, I can hit Y to, actually I don't want to hit Y, I want to hit X to equip it to my character, and I can then go over to my character sheet and hit X to use it, which will take me to Dalaran so I can show you what flying is like. So here I am in the lovely Dalaran, and I'm just going to run down here and hit down on my D-pad, which is what I bound my Phoenix to. Now I can fly around like this, and this is one of the coolest things about ConsolePort. Obviously, flying with a mouse and keyboard isn't really that natural. I mean, normally in a game you're flying with a joystick. Ideally you're doing it with like a flight stick, but you know, a 360 pad sometimes just has to do for a flying game. But this feels way cooler to fly around with, and I know that's not something that's going to improve your DPS or anything like that, but I'll tell you what it is, it's a pretty nice feature. So if you look at my actual action bars there, you can see how this is all bound. Now, getting used to that is a matter of muscle memory, just like it always is, and similar to if you're using a new mouse or just any new control sort of method, it will take time to get used to the different buttons. You can see I've got X for my steady shot, Y for aimed shot, B for chimera, RB for barrage, RT for kill shot, LB and X for multi-shot, and, you know, I don't really use these buttons too much. Right on the D-pad is my counter shot, LT and X is my rapid fire, and then LT and Y is my stampede. So I can pretty much just do LT, X, Y, and do both of those at the same time, which is really nice and efficient. One thing that is really not very plausible with this setup though is any ground effects, like say putting a trap on the floor. That's not really going to be that comfortable. Anyhow, let's head over and do let's head over to my garrison, and I'm going to do a proving ground for you on gold difficulty. Okay, so let's get into a gold challenge mode, and you can see I can tab target between these guys nice and easy, and yeah, I'm just going to start killing them. Obviously, it's the very first one, so it's pretty easy to clear for, well, for pretty much anyone, really. I'll probably cut back for some of the harder waves. Okay, so this is an interesting one because it's going to require some target switching. I'm going to have those illusionary banshees. But here's the thing, you find the tab targeting actually, once you kind of get a little bit more of how the tab targeting system works, it's quite usable because it will generally target things that are in front of you in a cone. So it really is pretty simple. Alright, so this is a slightly more annoying round because you do have that big clump of enemies over there. They just suck to deal with, frankly. But it should be okay. I'm just going to have to manually target that guy. So yeah, a little bit of manual targeting will be needed here and there. I actually missed my my interrupt there. It's a little bit silly of me, but anyway, it looks like these guys are going to fall rather easily. So I'm just going to hit LT and X to do my rapid fire, and then we'll just, you know, rapid fire this guy down. Pretty simple. I'm kind of sad I've not got, there we go, there's the AS buff. Brilliant, so this guy's pretty much dead. Nice and easy. Onwards to what I believe is the final round of the Proving Ground. And this one's got both the Banshee. I think this has got Banshees and the large illusionary Shah. The large Shah is fun because, well, he's got a lot more health. So I'm going to use all my cooldowns and that little box thingy over there to take him out. There we go. LTX, LTY, get our damage upgrade, and we're just going to rail on this guy, and he's going to fall to pieces in absolutely no time. And that is the Shah dead. Lovely stuff. Oh shit, there's a Banshee. I remember one time I actually failed the goal because I killed the Shah and stepped away from the keyboard. I just turned around, that Banshee spawned, and I was dead, which was quite the issue. But anyway, there's a gold Proving Ground. Let's be honest, if you can do a gold PG, you're going to be fine for just about anything else. The dungeons are simple. I mean, yeah, not good for PvP, not good for heroic plus rating. For normals, for mythic dungeons, simple stuff for leveling a character. Hell, it might even be more comfortable depending on your personal preferences. Okay, with that done, it's time to move on to the Steam in-home streaming section of this video. Now, Steam in-home streaming is extremely simple to set up. What you need to do is put Steam on both of the computers that you want to use. I've got it on the rig behind me, and I've also got it on one of my laptops. This will work for, Mac, Windows, basically anything. You then want to connect both devices to the same home network. So I've got them both on the, actually when I did the footage I'm going to use here, they're on the 2.4 gigahertz band. Ideally, I probably should be on the 5 gigahertz band so I can avail of faster speeds for Steam in-home streaming, but it actually worked fine in 2.4G once I turned on performance settings on Steam. But anyway, what you want to do is then go to your either of your computers, probably your main desktop computer, go to Steam and go to add a non-Steam game. You then will have a menu that pops up that contains loads of exes. If wow.exe isn't there, then you're just going to have to browse to it manually and find it in your WoW directory, but you just add WoW to Steam like that. Then, whenever you double-click on WoW from Steam, it will launch World of Warcraft, which is really quite handy. You then want to go to your laptop that's connected to your TV or whatever your setup is. You'll see that WoW should be in your games list. If it's not, then what you want to do is go to Steam, go to Settings, and check that you are connected and that both your computers are connected. It will work automatically, assuming they're on the same network. That's likely your issue. So once you've got Steam open on both and all that stuff's working fine, you also want to have Joy to Key installed on the computer that you're going to actually be streaming the game to. You need to install Joy to Key and go through the exact same process with Joy to Key that I already showed you at the start of this video. Then plug your Xbox 360 controller into the laptop that you're going to be streaming to, and then you'll be able to go to Steam, then go to WoW, and instead of saying play, it will say stream. Click stream. It will then open World of Warcraft on your host computer and stream that to your laptop, which I assume you'll have connected to your television via HDMI or something, and from there it will be the exact same, and you'll be able to play World of Warcraft on your TV, in your living room, even though World of Warcraft itself is actually running on your computer in your office or whatever. So that's basically it for the video. Now, in conclusion, is this something that I'm going to use really all the time? No, it actually isn't. In fact, it's something that I don't think I'm going to be using a great deal. Now, since it is the holidays, there might be a time when I'll just lie down on the sofa, use Steam Link or whatever, and just, chill out and play the game, maybe level up a character. But for the most part, this video is really to give you an idea of another option, of something you can do. Plus, it's always cool to work out some sort of nifty tech. And the idea of, streaming all of this stuff, having the console controller support, I think it's pretty cool. What really did surprise me, though, is just how usable this is. I firmly believe you can do anything below, well, any PvP. This is just not good for PvP. But you can do anything below a heroic raid on this. I mean, seriously, normal mode raids are not particularly hard. Now, that said, I haven't actually raided since July. Guild fell apart, and I just couldn't be bothered with 6.2 anymore. But we ended up doing some normals, and honestly, they were piss easy from every single requirement, and I firmly imagine that it would be easy enough to do either a normal mode raid, or perhaps even a mythic dungeon with a 360 pad like that. Now, is it ideal if you are a healer? No, it is doable if you're a healer, because you can snap between raid frames and then have one of your heals bound, but it is not ideal. What is kind of interesting about how this affects World of Warcraft, though, is it makes it feel a little bit different in terms of how you play it. The movement is very different. I mean, I was just playing The Witcher 3, and obviously this feels nothing like The Witcher 3, but it feels a little bit more similar. And if you're running around the world, leveling or questing, I could almost see this being a slightly more immersive experience, and having the reduced number of keybinds that you're going to get on the 360 pad, or at the very least the reduced number of, I think, very accessible keybinds, that's not going to matter if you're leveling up a character. Additionally, in Legion, they're designing a lot of the specs so that at a very core, the specs don't have a crazy number of buttons. Now, you can add probably just as many, if not even more buttons than what you've got in Warlords of Draenor with talents, but if you're a casual player in World of Warcraft Legion, you're just doing some of the world content, which is obviously a big focus of theirs, you've maybe got a bit more of a simple spec for your character, that will be totally playable to a very good level, a very reasonable level anyway, with this controller. Anyway guys, I hope you found this video interesting or enjoyable, and even if the controller thing isn't for you, hopefully maybe even learning about Steam Link or Steam in-home streaming would be kind of useful. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.